What's up, everybody? It's your boy Doc. I am back. It's 9/11. First I want to, give a shout out to all the victims and the families of, the 9/11, tragedies from 8 years ago. It's crazy that it's been 8 years now, but, still, big up to all of you all and all the efforts that people are doing to still help you all out. So, that's a good thing. So, but I'm back, though. I have not been on YouTube in a good 2 weeks. I've been busy. I'm going to tell y'all what I've been up to because I know I always got to tell y'all what I've been up to. Now, I'm back in school. I've been in school, but, classes started for me in August, the last week of August, so I've, been busy with projects already. Like my professors, they are not playing this time around, so I got the hard classes this semester, so that's why, y'all haven't seen me on YouTube in a minute, but I've been doing the doc report, what kind of foolishness, so I have been updating on those sites, following me on Twitter and all of that, so thank you all for that. But, right now, though, I got a domain name for the doc report. It is thedoc.mofuse.mobi, and I am getting it, I'm developing a website for it right now. I'm designing a website, so, the blog spot, y'all won't be seeing that in a little minute, because the new website will be coming very soon, so once I get all that situated, y'all will be going to a new website for the doc report, thedocreport.com, but for now, still go to thedocreport.blogspot.com, also on wkof.blogspot.com, what kind of foolishness, and twitter.com/MrDoc. MySpace, I really don't mess with MySpace like that much anymore, only for certain things, but if you want to get at me on MySpace, myspace.com/doc10 and facebook.com/MrDoc. You can find me up there too. But, it's a lot of things I missed, though, that I haven't talked about on here. Like, you heard me talk about it on Twitter and Facebook and MySpace. I mean, not MySpace, MySpace too, and, the doc report and everything, but I haven't, there's things I missed out on in the past few weeks that I haven't talked about on here. So, like the Chris Bryant interview, I talked about that on the website. Just a lot of things that, I haven't really talked about on YouTube because I haven't been up here in a good 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm back, though, like I said, and I'm going to get into some of these stories I'm going to talk about. Now, if you want to follow me, not follow me, if you want to send in some suggestions, get at me at thedocreport@gmail.com and just hit me up there. But, and I know I need a haircut, too, but it is what it is. Anyways, The Dream and Christina Milian are married. They got married last weekend in Vegas, and he rented it was a very recession wedding. They got married at the Little White Chapel in Vegas. That's where Britney Spears, my white wifey, that's where she got married to Jackson Alexander. The whole 55-hour marriage thing. Like I said, it's very recession. It was a very recession-proof wedding because he rented his suit for $100, his tux and vest and all that for $100, and she rented her dress for $200, so, it was very recession-proof and everything. But, I know I talked about it in the past, and other people have too, so I'm not the only one, but, the whole Christina asking for tracks story, the fucking for track stories and everything like that, but, I gotta give congratulations where they're due, so, congratulations to the couple. If you're happy, that's what's up. There's no prenup involved, so, yeah, I hope y'all got married for the right reasons, and I'm not gonna tell you all the comments that some of my friends have said, but anyways, another thing that just got confirmed today that she's pregnant, so that's what it is. So congratulations to Christina, you hit the jackpot. And, but that's what But I'm one thing that's been curious in my mind because they started dating back in January on the set of Rockin' That Thing video. Then they tried to downplay the relationship, saying that they wasn't together. Then they got married. Then they got engaged, and now they're married and everything. But this is what I want to wonder, though. Like, how is the holidays and how is, the Thanksgiving's going to go? Because, let me see if I can get this straight. All right. Nivea is Dream's ex-wife, and they got a child together. Nivea is now pregnant by Lil Wayne. And remember, there's a little story going around that Dream was like, if, Nivea and Wayne trying to get married, that they need to have a conversation. That's that. Christina Milian and the Ken used to go together back in the day. Y'all know that. Now now Nick and Mariah are married, and The Dream did produce the majority of Mariah's new album, Memoirs of a Perfect Angel, and they're good friends now. So I wonder how that whole, the Hollywood love triangles are very, love circles are very interesting. But that's that, though. So congratulations to those two. Ellen is the judge on American Idol for next season. Paul Abdul's not back anymore, and Kerry DeGardi, she got added last season as the 4th judge. So, here's my take on Ellen being the judge, though. Like, I like the fact that she is, it's interesting that she's going to be a judge. I find it interesting. But at the same time, this is a music competition, and people can say what they want about American Idol, say, it's not a real competition and all that, and that, it is what it is. But there's a lot of people out there that really do sing, though, on that show that really do want a chance at stardom. So I would want to get judged by someone that's in the music industry, rather than not someone that's a fan of the show. Not, because Ellen, she's been saying she's a fan of the show and everything like that. But Paula Abdul, say what you want. She, may not be the best vocalist, but she did have some hot joints, though, and she did have a hot career. So she has that sort of, backup plan that, not backup plan, but she got that extra backup that she can really, judge these, contestants, because she's been in the music industry, so she knows what it's about, and she knows what it is, you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. And Carrie DeGarde, she's a talented songwriter anyway, so she's already, hot on the trail for that. But I really wish Paula would have stuck around, because it's going to be interesting to see how the show is in January, because it's not going to be the same, because, we always been used to Paula and Simon with their little fights and everything, so it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out, but, it is what it is. What else? Let me check my time, because I know I got to check my time. All right, got a good 4 minutes, so I'm going to talk about this real quick. Jermaine Dupri and Janet Jackson are no longer together. Janet just did an interview with Harper's Bazaar magazine. She's on the cover too, looking very beautiful. But in the issue, she's confirmed that they're no longer together. That they was together for 7 years. Ever since the Someone to Call My Lover remix back in the day in '02, and they're not together anymore. But I was really sticking it out for them, though. I was really hoping they would stick it out, because they was like that interesting couple that that seems to be the theme of this show today, interesting. But because you would have never expected Jermaine Dupri and Janet Jackson to be a couple for real. So for them to stick it out for as long as they have, that's a real good look. And hopefully they get back together, because I did like them as a couple. And I don't know if it was some of the stuff that Jermaine Dupri be saying on Living the Life on his YouTube channel that got Janet kind of kind of hot-headed, because y'all gotta look at the shows. Y'all see the Ocean 7 crew. Y'all know how they do it there. So that's that. What else? And she's working on her new album too, and that's coming out next spring. And she's going to be doing Why Did They Get Married 2 coming out next year as well. So Janet's got a lot of hot things coming up. Also, and I'm even going to get into the 20Y OCD and the tracks on Discipline that JD produced. That I didn't really like that much, but it is what it is. But now that Whitney Houston, her first album in 7 years, I Look to You, debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts this week, selling 304,000 copies. And, this is her fourth #1 album on the Billboard 200, and she also debuted at #1 in Canada, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. Her album is coming out in October in the UK and all that, so those figures will come out later on down the road. And also, I find it interesting that I knew she would debut at #1 because of the anticipation, because she doesn't have a video out yet, nor did she only had one performance under her belt. So, the anticipation drive was driving people to do it, and then she's going to be on Oprah next week for 2 shows, so, those sales are going to go up next week as well. And, what else? Trey Songz, Ready, his 3rd album, second biggest debut of the week, debuted at #3 with 131,000 copies. This is Trey's highest first-week sales as well, so congratulations to Trey. That album is hot, too. Whitney's album is hot as well, but Trey's album is hot, too, so y'all got to pick that up. And another thing on the Billboard Hot 100, Mariah Carey's Obsessed is #7 this week. It's been at #11 for like 4 weeks. It debuted at #11, took a drop down, then got back to #11 for 3 weeks, and now she's #7, finally cracked the top 10. It's her 27th top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100, so congratulations to Mimi, because a lot of people were saying that Mariah wasn't going to hit top 10 with this song because it was calling it a flop and everything. And it brings to mind, is Island Def Jam still going to call this the Buzz single, because they thought that this song was going to flop, and they was about to say this is not the first single. They're going to say I Want to Know What Love Is the first single, but in reality it's the second single. So now I guess since this hit top 10 now, this is the first single again. But, shout out to Mariah Carey, though. And that's the end of this video. I talk a lot, but I'm doing another video real quick, so I'm going to shout at y'all later.